Violet here, second generation homeschooling mom of 3. I have an 8-year-old, a 5-year-old, and an infant. Today I wanted to share with you a bunch of the books that we checked out in March. So let's get into it. So this first book is a DK book. It's Dragon World, and it's myths and stories about dragons from all over the world. And it starts with Asian dragons, which I appreciate because I feel like a lot of books either start with European dragons or focus exclusively on them. So, and then it also talks about other dragons of the world. This is the sort of book that I would have loved as a kid. So my daughter actually just sat and read this cover to cover. And it's really nicely illustrated. It has fun stories, fun facts. This is a really good one. This next book is called Cook Me a Story. So this book has various recipes inspired by fairy tales, and there is a little fairy tale and like sort of interactive story you can read with each of the recipes. My daughter marked each of the ones that she wants to do. We haven't tried any of them yet, so I don't know if the recipes are any good or turn out or whatever, but I thought this was a cool book. One of the families at our co-op offered to run a class similar to this, where there was like a story-inspired cooking class. It did not end up running, so we didn't get to do it. But when I saw that book, it reminded me of that. This next one also could potentially be a good co-op class, Fairy Tale Science. So it's each fairy tale is paired with a science experiment you can do. I will say about this book, reading the fairy tales in here feels like reading somebody's summary of a fairy tale rather than reading the original fairy tale. So if I were to do something like this, either with my kids or at a co-op, I would find my own versions of these fairy tales because I don't think the versions in here are very fun to read or listen to. But the experiments look interesting, and I think they did a good job of relating the experiments to the fairy tale they were talking about. So this is a cool book. This next one, I'm debating running an origami class at our co-op next time it's time to like offer classes. And so I checked this book out from the library because I think for that situation, having a book with me is going to be a lot easier than like showing everybody a YouTube video. So this book looks great. It has, it is in black and white, but I feel like the illustrations are very clear. I've done a decent amount of origami, I should probably say. So I don't know if this would be as approachable if you were a complete beginner, but I feel like they do a good job of describing and showing all the different things you need, moving from more basic to more complicated. And there are just so many different things in here that I feel like most people probably would be tired of doing origami before they got to the end of this, but maybe not. So yeah, if you're looking for an origami resource, this one looks really good. My daughter actually took that book down to the basement and folded a bunch of stuff with it. She's 8, so she found at least the beginning few pages easy enough to understand on her own. This book is called Pets and Their Famous Humans. I thought this just looked really cute. So it has different, essentially biographies of people, but from the perspective of their pets, and it kind of focuses on their pets. So that's that one. This next one, this is not a library book. I got it from the library and then I ordered copies to give to a few of my friends who love Seinfeld. I don't like Seinfeld, but this is a kid's picture book inspired by Seinfeld. It has a search and find element and incorporates a bunch of stuff from like the most famous episodes, and I thought it would make a good gift. So if you need that in your life, it exists. This next book is called Space Pirates, a map reading adventure, and it's just different maps that you follow the directions to get to different treasure chests, and then on the next page it'll say if you did it right, this is the treasure chest you ended up at, and then it has new instructions for you to follow, and then there's little comics too. So this is one of those books that my kids love, doing all the stuff in it, and I like because it kind of exercises those basic map reading skills that we don't necessarily work on formally. This next book has no words. I always like having my kids read these books and tell me what's happening. It's a fun like storytelling exercise, and also like working on interpreting pictures and things like that. So it's called Brainstorm, and then at the end he figures out how to deal with his brainstorm. And then this next one is Field Trip to the Moon, also wordless. So this one was a bit more like, how would you feel if you were this kid with all the aliens? And what do you think you would do in this situation? So these are good discussion books, the wordless books, I think. This next book is called Sir Morian, and it's a legend of a Knight of the Round Table that I had never heard of. And he's a black Knight of the Round Table, like he's from North Africa. And this book is just, like, it was a lot funnier than I was expecting it to be. I was expecting it to be a little bit dry. I don't know why. But it was really funny, and my kids and I both enjoyed this one a lot. So this next one, we've been talking a lot about prepositions in first language lessons recently with my daughter, and my daughter loves cats. So I saw this book, Cat Side Up, Cat Side Down, and checked it out for her. So it's all these cute little crocheted cats with different prepositions, and this was a hit. This book is called The Unicorn. My daughter has trouble falling asleep sometimes, and so this talks about kind of things you can do to help yourself calm down and fall asleep through the frame of this funny little unicorn who comes to help this girl. So I don't know if it helped my daughter or not, but she liked the idea of it. This next one is called The Fire of Stars, and it's the story of Cecilia, now I can't remember her name, Cecilia Payne, who discovered what stars are made of. So I don't necessarily love this super sketchy illustration style with the teeny eyes. I think it looks a little bit funny, but we enjoyed this book. And then it has some real pictures at the end, which I think is essential. If you're doing a biography of somebody, you have to have real pictures and like all the facts at the end. This next book, my son really, really likes these Goodnight construction site books, and there's a ton of them now. So this is just the most recent one we checked out, Construction Site Taking Flight. And so they're building an airport. This next book, Swirl by Swirl, is illustrated. It's by Joyce Sidman, illustrated by Beth Cromes. But this Swirl by Swirl is just really, really pretty. This talks about all the swirls you can find in nature. And it has, I don't know if you can see, but all these things have little labels telling you what they are. And then at the end, it talks about the kind of the mathematical principles behind spirals and why they're so strong. This next one is Miss Maple Seeds. We try to check this one out every spring because I just think it's a really cute story that talks about seeds and things blooming, and yeah, it's a fun one. This next book, What Can You Do with a Rebozo? We've read What Can You Do with a Paleta before, and so I saw this at our library and grabbed it. So we enjoyed that one. So this next stack of books are all the things my daughter checked out, starting with, she got really into this Maker Comics series this month. And so each one is a DIY, it's a graphic novel DIY for a variety of subjects. So we don't have all of them, but we have Grow a Garden, Draw a Comic, or we checked out, Design a Game, Conduct a Science Experiment, Build a Robot, Survive in the Outdoors, Live Sustainably, Bake Like a Pro. I know we also checked out the costuming one, a few others. So those are really fun. We've checked out all of these Yasmin books before. They're a fun, like, early reader series. You can see the words are pretty big. But my library had this one on display, and so my daughter grabbed it to check out again, or to read again, because she enjoys them. Cat Ninja, this is a printed epic graphic novel. We don't really pay for any subscription services, so it's nice that they have some of their more popular series that you can get at the library. Fable Comics, this is a graphic novel version of a bunch of different Aesop's fables. So I think those are important to know for cultural literacy, among other things. So so each fable is illustrated by a different illustrator, so they're all kind of in different styles. So we have some audio versions of Aesop's fables as well, but I thought this would be a fun collection for my daughter to read, and she really liked it, so that's cool. These next two books are both in the same series, Breaking Cat News, and they're graphic novels about reporter cats. They're really cute. My daughter loved them. She said that they were really funny, and she really wants to read more of them. I don't know if there are more. I haven't checked yet. This next one is Bizzard the Bear Wizard. It's just another pretty simple graphic novel. My daughter read it pretty quickly, but it's a bear who's a wizard, and he goes on a little adventure with his friends. So this next one, Sarai and the Around the World Fair, is a chapter book. She has to figure out what she's going to do for the Around the World Fair at her school. So, and then you can see there's more books in the series. This next book, we read Jada Jones, I think the first one's called Jada Jones Rockstar, but it's a whole series about this girl, Jada Jones, and she really likes geology, and she goes to school and does stuff with friends, and it's kind of like a slice of life chapter book. But this is the same author, Miles Lewis, and then this is the first one in his series, King of the Ice. So it has a decent number of pictures, decent amount of text, and my daughter enjoyed these ones as well. There's Jada Jones. I think my daughter liked Jada Jones better. She likes reading about girls because she can, I guess, relate to them more, but I like having her read about other kinds of kids too. This next book is called Secret Coders, and it's a graphic novel that's not, it just has black, white, and green. So that one's about kids who are becoming secret coders. So I don't think it really talks a ton about programming. It's more kind of an adventure book. This next one's called Journey Under the Arctic. It's these kids who go on an adventure and you learn about different animals in the ecosystem, different like microorganisms that can live in the Arctic. I thought this was really cool. I think my daughter thought it was just okay. She didn't ask to read any of the other books in this series. So, and this last one I can't remember where I saw it, but this is a retelling of Beowulf, but it's not gory and she's a little girl. So I checked this out for my daughter. We did Beowulf at the very beginning of the year, but I thought this would be fun for her to read. For me, I checked out this edible house plants. These two, the Martins own like a rare tropical houseplant greenhouse, I guess you would call it, plant nursery. And so they sell a lot of plants, tropical plants that you can grow in your own home, essentially. So this is a how-to guide and like suggestions for different plants that you can grow in your house. So I thought this was really cool. They have a lot of experience in this, and it's something that my husband and I are kind of interested in maybe doing, although our house is fairly small. I'm not even sure where we would put these plants. We could figure something out though. So check that out for us. I hope you found that helpful. I will link everything in the description box below. I am an Amazon affiliate, so if you click on a link and make a purchase, I do receive a small commission. Thank you for watching.